Bye.
Thursday, the 7th of December 2023. In studio today, former Springbok coach Peter de Villiers joins us. And a little bit later, friend of the show, Carlos MESQUITA. Today, ANC and Mkota Wesizwe veteran Mvuso Simang leaves the ANC, citing endemic corruption. Cricket South Africa's independent inquiry has cleared South African under-19 captain of wrongdoing. Load shedding continues unabated in the summer. Switch off those fans and rather jump in the ocean. CakeNet TV presenter and two others in court accused of swindling more than 30 million from the steel works company. And temperature is hot out there. Nantle Hopley, my co-pilot, I smelled the chemicals from the pool. It must have been
it was like excuse just to clean the pool and then
then you jumped.
I had to jump in.
Yeah.
I had to clean something. One of those.
So
Nice.
we've got one of your heroes today, yeah. Besides Peter de Villiers, we've got Carlos MESQUITA.
Yes, definitely.
But Peter de Villiers,
It's one of those where you can stand around the bar and say, "Nah, I chilled with this guy. We had him on the podcast."
I heard he's got 5 heroes and I'm all 5.
and Jack Norris.
yeah. Peter, thank you so much for doing this. I'm going to call you coach. It's I think that's something that suits you,
Yeah.
rather than honorable member
No,
or rather.
Coach is fine. I love it.
Yeah. Let's talk about people generally tend to see you first as a rugby coach. I mean, this is the political show, so we're going to talk a lot about politics. How do people respond to you when you're going to the shop to buy yourself a water or something like that?
Well, if I give you the background, before I became the coach, there was a lot of things that we didn't love in South Africa. Playing fields weren't level yet. And when I came, I said to myself, I'm going to make this team the team of the people. Brought them to provincial fields to do their practice. So now the average guy who couldn't afford to go watch a test could come watch our practices.
Yes.
So because they were always deprived from being at the test, they could now, our practices become their test now.
Yes.
And the practices were so well attended that the players couldn't make mistakes at practice. And through trying to make them the team of the people, I became the coach of the people. Now almost 12, 13 years after I've been there, I can't still go anywhere. That's why I never eat out, because people disturb you and you don't enjoy anything. I rather hide myself, So I've been known as coach. And a lady once came to me and she said to me, I was sitting here now, Mug and Bean, and you were standing there now for 15 minutes. I was waiting for my wife then. And for 15 minutes, people were taking photos with you. Don't you get tired of it? I said, you know what? Nobody wants to take a photo with Peter de Villiers. Everybody wants a photo with the coach. I just have to stand with the coach with him and pretend that I enjoy it, because, well, my 1,000th photo will be your first.
Yes.
So I must pretend that it's my first too. So I make it worthwhile for you.
Yes.
So I became the coach of the people. And another thing that hit me before the 2015 World Cup, Heyneke Meyer were in a media conference, and one of the journalists said to him, Mr. Meyer, Coach Peter said. And then they asked me, how do I feel about it in an interview? I said, wow, I feel honored, because they should have said, Coach Meyer, Mr. de Villiers said, but they regarded me as the coach and him as the mister. and I just thought, wow, I really became the coach of the people.
Before you were the coach, you were a player and you were a scrummy.
And in between I was a teacher too. I was a teacher for 20 years. I played all my years. I played, I almost played for 20 years, this game. I loved it to bits. I loved it more than school. It's actually rugby that kept me in school, because when I was hyperactive in school, my teachers were tired and they couldn't handle me. But I was there because of the rugby, and because of rugby, I got educated. You know, so if you can find something that make you tick in life, something where you can that can make a difference to you, and you master it, you will make a difference in other people's lives.
The game was a totally different game back in the day than it is now. If you look at the Springbok team that won the World Cup, very diverse group, a lot of national pride and unity in that. Whereas when you were playing the game, it was obviously, like the rest of society, very divided. So what was it like coming up through that segregated system?
Yeah, I played during the apartheid years, and I played for SARU then. So we didn't play with the regime. And I wasn't strong enough in my head to fight politics. But I could make a political statement by saying, I'm not agreeing on what you guys are doing with our people. So I played my rugby there, enjoyed it. The one thing I learned is not where you play it, is how you play it. That can bring that kind of feeling into you that, wow, I conquered. Made me feel good about myself. So are you unhappy, or do you think that you should have done it different? I will do it all over again if it's the same circumstances. Because it's not about where you play the game, I say again, it's how you play it. And for me, I always competed against myself. And I'm still that same kind of guy in my work now. I don't compete with other people. They can do what they want to do. I will do what I want to do. And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Because if I can be the best me that I can be, everybody around me will be proud to be us.
What kind of a scrum off were you? Were you like a kicking scrum off? Were you running scrum off?
It was very diverse, you know, and I think your strengths become your weaknesses in life. Because to say it in Afrikaans, I was very hardig, you know, and wasn't afraid of anything. I did whatever, because we grew up and you have to survive. So I played the game like that, you know, and that caused me with the bigger guys. I was a target. They were a target for them. So, but I was skillful enough to be very diverse in my game. The small skills I developed myself. In Paul is a big river, the Bergrivier. Every week I went there once to pass stones out of the river.
How big were the stones?
I didn't care how big it is. No, the big stones.
Oh.
I actually made a big swimming hole for the guys by throwing out the stones out of the river, and that causes me to have one of the fastest and longest passes in my time. So you don't need to look for things; it's all around you. You must just go take it and go make it work for yourself, you know. So those kind of preparation in my life, the hardships that we all talk about, I think it's not a hardship. I think it's just a learning school. It's how hard you can learn and teach other people through that again. That makes you something different, you know.
How often did your fly half complain to you that you were skip passing him the whole time? If you had such a big...
My first practice, I went to study in Kimberley. So they invited me to the Griqua practices, Griqua and West Rugby Union. And the ball were actually spilling coming quick out of the scrum, past me, and then I had to grab it. And as I grabbed it, as I brought it back, I did a reverse pass back to my fly-off. And when we were on the top on the other side, he was still lying down. I winded him with my backhand pass. So yeah, I can remember one of my longest passes were from a line out where my fly-off stood straight with the poles he wanted to drop, and I had to pass from that line out until where we were. So yeah.
Did he make the drop?
He made the drop, okay. But he got the credit. Nobody even saw the long pass that I gave my life.
In your opinion, who was the best scrum half that you've seen? Saru days all the way up to present days. Oh, it's hard to pick the best, but let's say top 3.
Yeah, there was I forgot his name now. He's a professor at Stellenbosch. He was there, Professor Julian Smith. Julian Smith was the best scrum half I ever saw in my life. He had skillful. He could play with his hands. He could make you stop only with his hands, and he had speed to burn, and he had a rugby brain. So yeah, I think he was one of the better scrum halves I saw in world rugby.
And the best scrum half that you personally coached?
I think the best scrum half that I coached is Ricky January.
What made him stand out from the others?
He had everything. The only thing that he couldn't kick. But when Ricky played scrum half, there will always be a gap for your centers to run through. Because he will keep everybody busy around the scrum. And while they keep them busy, he will still make the pass. And he's unpredictable, and he was fast because you could use him as the source to stop moves on the other side because he was so quick. Nobody could actually around the scrum live with his speed, you know. So he was one of the best. And then Fourie de Pre was, if I could have a combination of Fourie de Pre and Ricky, it would be the best in the world because Fourie could kick. And he also had a rugby brain, but he could kick like, oh. Yeah. So yeah, but Ricky, I think Ricky was just bad managed, you know.
We're going to talk more about rugby, but as you know, this is a political show.
Let's go.
You are in politics.
I am there.
But the politics of rugby is something that's its own animal altogether. And I think my opinion as an outsider, and I haven't read your autobiography, so it's maybe this is territory that you've already covered without me knowing it. But around about the time that Oregon Hoskins was the head of SAFU, you were appointed as a Springbok coach, and I think you must correct me if I have the wrong impression. I think Oregon Hoskins said that we have to not have to. The appointment of Springbok coach Peter de Villiers, it's about time for us to have somebody, or we labeled you as a transformation coach. Do you think that kind of cut you off at the knees and sort of gave a permission structure for people to see like, this Peter is a quota coach?
I think that was the worst start I could get from anybody. You just inherited a rugby team who just won the World Cup.
Yes. You inherited Jake White Springboks.
No, there's no Jake White Springboks. It was South African Springboks. He just
Springboks.
coached them before
Yes.
me. I coached them before he coached them.
Yes.
Because 80% of those guys I coached at under 19 and 21 level. But be it as it may, for those players to come from a World Cup that they won to hear that their new coach is a token. It did put everything in reverse gear for us to go forward.
Yes.
And you first had to win their trust, and they didn't trust you, and all those kind of things. But it's the same in the political field, where somebody gets into a position, not because he's the best, but because somebody has voted him in there as a president.
Yes.
Now rugby, I normally say it this way. You stand before a door that's closed, and then you badly want to know what's behind the door. So you knock, and then you go in and say, okay, so somebody now point you to be there inside, then you become the door, and everybody else needs to come knock on you. Instead of, wow, I understand how bad it was to get in here. Let's make it easier for everybody else to want to get in there and show them the way rather than to stay in there and to be in their way, So he looked after his own job, and he called some influential people in South Africa to say, wow, your favorite Heyneke Meyer didn't make it. Yes, now
he was the guy that a lot of the media, it was between you and Heyneke.
Yeah.
Heyneke Meyer was the Blue Bulls coach. He was the Blue Bulls had their own brand of rugby, at the time. I remember that Derek Hougaard at the time. They were a well-oiled machine, so there was a lot of... I don't want to make things simpler as like the Afrikaans media or whatever, but he was a media favorite. And then you got the job, and then Oregon Hoskins said that like it's time for a transformation candidate.
But there was this election coming for president, and he need to secure his job.
Right, president of SAFU.
What happened a year before that? I was the coach of the emerging box. They wanted to show how bad I am. So they gave me 1 week to gather a team and to go into a competition to play against up north. And in Bucharest, we went to play. And I actually managed to build a team out of them in 1 week. And we won that competition. So the CEO said to me, if you go win that thing, then your path will be open to become the Springbok coach. Then the media, Dale Granger, or is it Gail Danger, called me and asked me, what do I think? That's the time that they called Jake back from England too.
As a consultant?
No, they called him back. He was a Springbok coach, then they wanted to fire him. So now my name came up, and Dale called me. And he asked me, is there enough black players? Now, 2005, I won the World Cup with a starting lineup of 9 black players. So they were afraid of me coming to transform rugby. But you don't know, you won't find every year 9. That year, I was just lucky that there were 9 brilliant players, and all of them became Springboks anyhow. So he asked me, is it possible that you will find enough black players to play for South Africa? I said, well, there's almost 80 players in South Africa, black players that can play for South Africa. So he made it a big story. He never asked me about white players. So he said, if he comes in here, he's going to transform and he's going to throw everybody out of the team and all those kind of guys. He actually wanted to write a negative thing, you know. But he did so well for me because he taught me how the media think. After that, I could handle them and I could play them to my tune, you know. And then that was a story where people didn't wanted me because they were afraid of me transforming rugby into a black thing. So that is where everything started, and Regan knew about it. So Regan called that influential people and asked them, so what now? And they told him, this is what you must say now, so that you can secure your position.
Yes.
So that is why he said that. It was painful. It was actually bad, really, really bad, because for the first time there was hope for our people. But I'm a very private person, so nobody knew me out there, you know. And even if there were hope now for those who never had the chance, when they also heard the story, that wow, this man is not there for rugby reasons. The rugby faithful also thought, no, we can't go with somebody like this. We want to win, you know. Players, supporters, everybody were against me being there. And yes, as I'm telling you now, it was tough that first year because you just had to convince them. And I won't forget my first meeting with the players. I said the culture of this team, because he's black and white and whatever, the culture of this team is going to be honesty. And one of the so-called World Cup winners said to me, it's the only thing they want. So I said, do you understand what you're saying to me now? He said, no, honestly. I said, no, but do you understand what you're saying to me? You are saying to me that I must be honest enough to drop you when you're off form. You know, if you don't make a tackle, you're not honest. If you're late, you're not honest. So it doesn't have any color implications. If you're not honest, you're not honest. So the culture that we created in the Springbok side of honesty is actually something that I'm very proud of.
Do you think that you won over eventually the dressing room, or a large enough part of it?
You must understand, in Parliament too, it's the same thing. That's why it's so easy for me. The transition is so easy for me. Because the people that voted for you, they've got X-ray eyes. Your players has X-ray eyes. They don't look at what you teach them about scrumming and those kind of things. They know those things. They want to see the other things, the deeper things, you know. And when you live those things, when those things is part of your makeup, then there's no other way for them to understand, wow, this guy is here for me. Yanni came the other day, he called me, "You want to see me at the airport, Yanni du Plessis?" And he said to me, "You know what, coach? It bring me a hell of a lot of stuff," and said, "You made my life," and all those kind of things. He said, "But you know what? Bismarck says that you are your own biggest enemy." He said, all the other coaches invited influential people to hand over jerseys for them, so that those people can give them a job or give them something. You invited people for us, so that we could be inspired by the guys who were talking, you know. And I felt good because, wow, look at what the players picked up at the end. So those are the things you can't buy because Checkers is open on a Sunday. You can't go buy those things, you know. But those are the things that now come back to pay off and not to haunt you.
So the picture that I'm getting is that you were almost set up to fail at many steps. There were many obstacles in your way, but then you won away in New Zealand like twice.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't grow up in an area where you have to survive, and when you're big, you don't use it. You understand where we're getting it? It's like our women. They're good athletes when they're young, then they give it up, and they're unhappy for the rest of their life because love can't fulfill the fact that they love running.
Yes.
You don't give up something that's you. That's what makes you you. Is the first thing you treasure and take with you until you die, because nobody can make somebody else happy. You know, you're the only one who can make yourself happy. And if you make you happy, you can make other people happy. So this is very important, that you don't give up the you in you. Even if people don't like it, you don't give it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can let go of a passion, but a passion won't let go of you.
Never.
It will stay
Never.
there.
You find today politicians, you find preachers, you find rugby players or sports people who can't let go of the fact that they were good players because they're not fulfilled, you know. So
what happens after retirement?
But move on.
Yeah,
just move on. I mean, if you want me to go sweep streets, you will know that I work there because it will be the cleanest streets. Because I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. You know, and a lot of people are taking positions just so that other people can actually respect them. But they don't understand, if that position is gone, they're nobody. Yes. My position is gone for 12 years. You still call me coach.
Yeah, you coach. It's the same as like when somebody's the president of a country or a company, you call them president. You know,
I walk in the legislature there, and people call me coach. Mm-hmm. It's only when we're in sittings that they call me member, but everybody calls me coach. Fine.
One of these days, the speaker's going to slip up and call you coach.
Yeah.
So, look, one of the things at the end of your Springbok coaching career, there was a lot of, I would say, unfair criticism of you from the media. I would say that a lot of it was unnecessary, man. Do you forgive these people? I mean the personal attacks and the things that the judgment that you were holding unfairly by a lot of these people, it was, in my opinion, very agenda driven.
You meet a hell of a lot of people in your life. teachers, parents, whatever you meet in your life. And they are there to actually lift you, uplift you, uplift you. But at a certain stage, all of those people can't go as high as what you go. So you have to leave them down there. They're not bad people. They're still good people, but they just don't have the abilities that you have. So if you clutch to them, if door opens for you, you can't go through it because it's your door, but other people are now stopping you from going through the door because the door is not made for 2 or 3, you know?
Yes.
So what happened with the media is that they looked up to me. And they say, Peter, that's too high for you. You're going to get hurt there. And they called me bad names and all those kind of things. They wrote me off. But what they never understood, what were too high for them was normal for me. And I stayed in my normality. I never came down to anybody's level. Because when you come down to somebody else's level, he will be better than you because that is his pinnacle. That's his. He will beat you there. But if you say thank you for the people who helped you, and you outgrow them, there will be other people who will help you again further to go up, you know. But if you keep on clutching to other people who's not meant to go all the way with you, you will stay with them, and you will miss your calling.
But is there any bad feelings towards certain journalists who?
No. The reason why there's no bad feelings, I went to study them. And I wanted to know why are they so envious or against me, you know? Why? What was the reason? So I found out, I couldn't find one player, one journalist that played first team for his school. So what gave him the competency to challenge me on where I were? And I was very high. I was very, very high. I was an international rugby coach. So for a journalist who's only working on part-time on a story, what gives him the competency to challenge me? And I said to myself, don't wake them up. Let them dream. Let them think they're on your level. Let them keep on dreaming. Because when they wake up one day, they will realize, wow, if I stayed with that guy, I could have been better. And today, I can tell you, there's a hell of a lot of them who are saying the same thing I'm telling you now. Say, we were unfair, and wow, if we only, and it's too late. I didn't need them to get me there. Nothing brought me to where I were. Today, nothing brought me where I am. And if nothing can take me this far, just think how far can nothing take me. So on my way, I add people like Carlos and you and everybody to my cause. And I remain the nothing stays with me. But these people is add-ons. So if they fall away, nothing will still take me.
I see. But at the time, do you think throughout in your coaching career, when you spoke about race in particular, those were the moments when they poisoned their pens, like most of all. If you could go back in time, would you still make those same public critiques of race in sport and in particular in rugby in South Africa?
I didn't make a lot of racial remarks. What I don't, up till today, I don't hide it. I'm a colored. End of story. You know, I'm black. I'm not white. But it doesn't mean I'm incompetent.
You said the one quote was I'm
black and ugly, but I'm not stupid. So in my day, when I grew up as a youngster, if you want to distinct, you want to people understand whom you're talking about. You're talking about a white guy or a black guy, or you know. Today people are afraid to talk about it, but they think it. And that's why they make excuses in their minds for something they're not doing wrong. I never ask excuses because I don't do anything wrong. My dream came true when I became the Springbok coach. I was 13 years old when I said to my mother, I played a good rugby game under 13, and my coach said to me, my teacher, you're going to become a Springbok. And I went home and I said, Mom, I'm going to become a Springbok. And she told me, you will never be a Springbok. It's only for the white people. We're talking about the 60s now, 1960s. So it was in the middle of apartheid. So on my way back to my room, I turned back and I said, Mom, if I can't play for them, I will coach them one day. 37 years after that, I coached them. Are dreams real? or is your dream only your dream a reality? I don't know. My dream was real at the end. You know? A lot of people can't dream. Do you understand? Now, when I became the coach, my dream became true. So now I don't have anything else in my life that I want more. My dream is fulfilled. I now have to fulfill the dream of other people who also want to become the best in the country. So I don't care what your color is. I'm looking at your skill level. And if your skill level takes me, and you must understand another thing about Springbok rugby, not your best players become Springboks. Your best team becomes Springboks. So if your skill level is high and mine is low, but I help you to be better, then I'm going to be the one who's going to play.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because you're selecting a team here, but the individuals are very important too. And that was my job. I wanted to bring hope for everybody in this country, black, white, whatever, that they can become Springbok. So in my first year, we went to Soweto. And we went to do a coaching clinic there. And that is my highlight of my coaching career as a Springbok coach. Because two people came that day to me after the training. A little black boy came to run up to me and he said to me, "Coach, I want to play for you one day." And then it hit home. Wow, I'm in Soweto. It's a soccer player. Then this guy want to play for me. Sure. What did I do right? Do you understand what I'm getting at? And a guy with a SUV, a black, but it was 2008. SUVs were still the car, everybody want to drive. It's expensive cars then. He came to me and he says to me, "I don't normally do this. I can remember it like yesterday. I turned back to tell you that there's no honesty. I thought there's no honesty anymore in this country, but you show me I was wrong. Look where you came with your honesty, and look what you do with honesty." So that was my highlight. Without saying a word, my actions actually portray my character. So that to me is more value, because what I then afterwards learned, money can't buy a name, but a name can make money. So the way I worked on my name is actually what I'm now picking the fruit from.
So I want to take you back to the day that your dream ended. Did you know that they were gonna ask you as Springbok coach? What were the indications, and what was it like to get that call or have that meeting? How did it work?
Well, you said it. I didn't say it when you said it was a tough, bumpy ride, and they wanted to get rid of me. They actually told somebody not to take an assistant coaching job because I won't make it for 6 months. And they're gonna give it to him. And during my tenure, 4 times they tried to get rid of me, but my assessments were too great. My lowest assessment was 87%.
Who does the assessing?
It's rugby. So everyone in rugby thinks on a hell of a lot of things.
And
you
can't, it's not an opinion, it's a score that you...
No, everything. L is deep. You got so a lot of people who comes in there, brain profiles and all those kind of things, to see if you're not lying and all those. But it was brilliant. So they couldn't get rid of me, but they hated my guts. Because most of those officials weren't there for rugby.
They were there for a career?
For their own good. And I forbid them to come into my change rooms.
It seems that they wouldn't be allowed in the change room anyway. I don't understand how...
They can come there, but
so these are officials that are...
But because they're not there for rugby.
Right.
What happened is that the players know it. And although they win, they're negative. And if they lose, they don't see them then there. So I said, don't come. Rather stay out of it. And they didn't like it. So they wanted to get rid of me. And while we were at the World Cup in 2011, some of the guys who are still in SA Rugby now went to see Gert Small to become the next coach. While we were busy playing in the World Cup. And the players learned about it. They heard the nonsense there. Now you can see how negative that impacted some of the players too.
Yes.
Especially those who weren't in favor of playing. They will look for a reason why they're not playing, you know. But what they do forget is that coaches don't select players. Players select players. Because I want to win, do you think I will drop you because I don't like you? I will drop you because you're bad. Even if I don't like you, they can kick your face away as long as we win. I don't have a problem. Do you understand? I was very focused, and I am still today. I'm focused on what I want to achieve. I don't always know the how, and that's why I get people in who know the how. How do they think? What do you think we can do here? What do you think here? Now, when you ask people, they think you're stupid. But it's not what they think that make you clever. You know, it's how you take the information and they give it and apply it.
Right. I mean, you don't know, one person can know everything about anything.
No.
You have to consult.
I went to France. Listen to me. I went to France and I had an interview there. And then this guy says to me, how do you feel to be the first black person in the rugby? I said, no, we've played the game for 100 years already. I'm not the first black person. It's just a just reward on everybody who were before me and worked hard to be here. It's not that I'm the best. It's just I'm rewarded for what they fought for, you know. And then he said to me, in your tertiary education? I said, yeah, I've got 6 degrees. I don't have 1, but I said I have 6. He said, 6? You're well educated there. I said, no. The doctor has 2, the physio has 2. I appointed them, they're working for me. So he said, it's my degrees. While they're working for me, it's my degrees. Because if I want to know something about the players, how to keep them fit, they will give their best, so it's me. So if you fight hard, you might lose the battle. If you fight smart, somebody else will win the battle for you.
Coach, coming back to that day, that phone call, when you knew that, you know, your time as Springbok coach was over, how did that day?
It's fine.
Who said what?
Fine. When I move on, I move on.
But who said?
2011. Nobody said it to me until today. 2011 was the last time that I ever spoke to anybody of Saru.
Wow.
I never went back there because what do I look there for? I move on. Heavenly glory is ahead of you, not behind you. Darkness is behind you.
Oh, you obviously had peace with
everything.
With that.
When I walked out of teaching for 20 years, I never went back to any school. When I coached at Western Province, when I went to Blue Bulls, I never went back to Province. When I left Blue Bulls, I never went back there. Wherever I walk away from, it's water under the bridge, brother. Because if you dwell too long on that place there, there's no way that you can see the opportunities arising in front of you.
Yes. And
that is what I think people should learn from this today is that there's a part in the Bible that says when Abram went to sacrifice and his son says, here's the knife, here's the fire, here's the wood, but where's the sacrifice? And his answer were, God will provide the sacrifice. Too many a time we think we're the sacrifice. Why did they take the job away from me? What did I do wrong? I'm not the sacrifice. Go on with your life. You're not the sacrifice. You just have to walk in faith that where you're going, the sacrifice will be there for you. And that's what I'm doing in my life. I don't fight people. I don't fight people because it's not worth fighting them. Some of them are so slick. Where you hit, they're gone. You know, and you don't know the gangs that's behind you and who's fighting with them. So you don't get into fights. Don't let people stomp on you. If you understand that your opinion is only an opinion and not the only opinion, you will know when to reserve it.
So then, from rugby, you went into politics. And I always say people aren't in politics. Politics is in people. So whenever you see somebody who happens to be a councillor or MPL, it means that there was this thing inside of them that compelled them to enter into politics. They were political before they entered politics. Did you always feel that in you, that pull towards the political?
Oh, I was locked up.
Tell me about that.
We were fighting. in the 70s, 75, 76. We were in the midst of this. UDF. We were all part of those kind of things, man. You know that after I fought for this country, I never went to vote.
Not once.
Because I didn't fight to go vote. I did fight that everything, the playing fields must be equal. I did fight for the people that comes after me, that they can have the stuff. It took me a few years before I went to vote. But I wasn't there to go vote. And I say to a lot of people, I wasn't against white people. I was against apartheid. But the white people were the custodians of apartheid. So actually they have to pay for what I am against. Not because I don't want them. I just don't like the ideologies of them.
Yes.
And I say it today again. It's not the black people that steal and rob and break into your house. It's the poor people. But the poor people happen to be black.
And a product of a system.
The poor people happen to be black. And if you want to go deeper into those kind of things you want to say, I'm just saying don't lose focus that the people who rob and steal are the poor people. So if you tell me it's the black people, then you can see who's poor in this country.
Yes. Now the story goes that you got a phone call from Patricia de Lille inviting you to be part of the Good Party.
I'm part of Good since 2019.
Oh, okay. Right.
I'm a Good member since 2019.
And how long did you have to think about that political decision?
She called me then to be part of the party, so I went and I actually signed up as a member then. But I wasn't actively in it. I don't want to say my passion, I must say my secret love was still rugby, you know.
Of course. I don't think it's a secret.
And then when she asked me if I would consider to be part of Drakenstein, so I met her and I spoke to her and I look at the values of what the party stands for. And that's exactly what I was fighting for during my apartheid years too. And that was for me the defining moment to go actually put all my energy into this, you know. But I didn't know that I was so popular among some of the people.
How did you see that?
Yeah, wherever we went, you will never understand this. At some by-elections where we go, the other parties will run to come take photos with me. They come with their blue colors and they, can I just have a photo, please, you know. And then I realized, wow, if we do think we have a chance to actually enter the big arena, I think this is where I had to put my energy. And my little contribution might just grow big enough so that we can go change the minds of people, but also bring... And the one thing, you must understand, for me to bring hope is easy because I never forgot where I came from. I just want to tell you this story and I hope you understand the significance of it and where it comes from. Being the coach of South African rugby, I had a 30,000 entertainment budget per month.
Joe, that's a lot of entertainment.
Per month. Oh. Because you're a big guy, you're all over the world. I mean, you go to America, the difference between rand and dollar is big. But anyhow, after 4 years when I gave my credit card back, I used 3,000.
Did they ask you what's wrong with you?
They asked me the first time it ever happened because people use it for their own good. I say it was never my money. So when I lost the job, I never missed the money.
True.
So now I'm in the same reason in this job. I'm not there for the money. We all need money to survive. But if the job is gone, I won't miss because I'm not there to enrich myself. I'm there to enrich other people's lives through my contribution that I can make. And at this stage, I still think good is the best place for me to do it. I hope that I'm still significant in trying to do what I want to do. At times you become despondent, but it's not about becoming despondent. It's how you use that despondency to make it work for somebody else. So when they get to that same bridge, they know how to go over it,
I'm going to talk to you about Drakenstein, politics in Drakenstein, and then you
can go.
But I think we've got a clip. Are we going? No, it's up to you. I saw you pull it up, so you can put the headphones on and you can listen to it.
Ik praat al voor 2 weken al eens oor die keel. Dus ek maar net so klein stemmetjie. So staan jy net nader man. Sê, ek wil julle sê die volgende. Wat deur jou kop gaan, ek moet vir jou sê. Wat gaan aan in Genadendal? Hier is niks in Genadendal nie. Kom? Ja, hier is niks nie. Verkeerd. As jy is alles hier in Genadendal wat hier moet wees. Want die Here sal nie vir my in Genadendal sit nie, want ek is te sleg om mense in Genadendal te verander. Hy het vir jou hier gesit want jy het die vermoë om dit te doen. Nou okay, wat kan die skool vir jou beteken? Niks. Skool kan niks beteken nie, maar die geleentheid wat die skool vir jou gee, die geleentheid moet jy gebruik om te kom waar jy wil wees. So, gehoorsaamheid is nommer 1, is 'n deeg in die Bybel. Jy moet gehoorsaam wees en jy moet onderdanig wees. So jy gaan 'n klomp mense in die lewe ontmoet, baie mense, maar jy gaan niemand ontmoet wat jaloers op jou is nie. Jy gaan baie jaloerse mense ontmoet, maar niemand is jaloers op jou nie. Mense is jaloers op hulle eie onvermoëns.
Was that kind of like what your team talks were like? It feels.
I'm gonna say something to you now that you won't believe. I mean, he knows how many times I'm booked every weekend. Either schools or rugby clubs or churches or whatever. I'm booked. I'm busy every weekend, but I never prepare. When I get to the place where you want me to be, I always go early. I'm always early there, and I pick up the vibe, what they need here. And then I just start falling over my words. I mean, he calls me, Carlos calls me and he says to me, we must put a clip together for the Springboks. And then I send him a clip. Said, perfect. I said, wow, perfect. I thought it was not that great, So, I'm not clever.
Clever people would be the first people to say, I'm not clever.
No, I'm not clever, but I'm wise. I'm wise, and wisdom is from above. So speaking to you this afternoon, talking about who you and what makes you you, it's not something that I prepared. It's something that from somehow came into my spirit, know that's what you need going forward. Because when I leave here, that is the one thing that will remain in you.
Yes.
Forever.
Yes.
Do you understand? We're getting it. And that's the reason why I came. I didn't come for this interview. I was sent here to make you significant. And by being you, every day of your life, everybody who walks in here, they must abide to who you are. Do you understand? We're getting it. So you will get sometimes people like me, and you will be starstruck at times, but you will be, most of the time, you will be in control. And how are we in control is looking down at other people you're talking about. Because it's not that you don't value them, it's just, I will ask you what I want to ask you. I will get out of you what I want to get out of you. And that can actually be your detriment too. Because you forget how to talk to that person with respect.
Yes.
The first question is the most important question. The first question is the most important question. Every other question, you will have your 5, your 6. If that guy can't answer the way you want, it's fine. But if he answers us, something in that answer is the next question.
Yes.
Because he will trigger you. He will trigger you to put him into bed. Do you understand where I'm getting at? Oh, you told me now that you're an honest person. And suddenly now, boy, I wanted to blow myself up as an honest person, but I can't even give you any examples. And this is the little things that somebody want to be clever. Do you understand what I'm trying to bring across to you? So when I went there, the school had a function, and they went to play sevens. But I couldn't stay long there because I had to attend another function. They actually hijacked me there. So I said to the principal, I have to leave now, but if you want to bring all the rugby players, and I can just say something to them quickly, or whatever you want to bring. And at that stage, I didn't still know what I wanted to say, you know. But I knew I had to say something for them, because even if I say anything, something bad too, they want to listen to me. And the one thing I can tell you today is that for me, there's only one thing worse than going to hell. Only one thing is when you're the cause of other people going to hell. And that is in all my talks, I just want to build, not break. Don't expect of me to talk me up. I'm there already, you know. So if you want somebody else to go to a next level, get there first and pull them to you, because you can't push anybody to the next level. It takes too long. You're going to be tired. You're going to get there first and pull others to you if you can. And like today, I mean, you got me here, and you go up there, you got me here, you pulled me up to your level now. So when we leave here, we're both going to be on the same level, you know. And that is exactly where life, when people say you missed your purpose or you find your purpose, that's exactly the purpose we're talking about. When you're open enough to equip yourself to get to the level where you should be when somebody else gives you the opportunity to get there.
I just want to say the reason why I pulled that up was that is actually the reason why you were the people's coach, because that clip is just one day that was just shot, and I just found it now. I saw it previously, but I pulled it up now. But that shows who you are, man, and that shows why people still call you the coaches, because that is bigger than rugby, really. It's bigger than sports. Like in hip hop, there's a term that I grew up on where they say each one teach one.
Yeah.
And you love that actually. That's actually why I just wanted to show that clip, really.
And I didn't even know that they were making a video out of it. I think the principal actually just put a telephone on, and then she posted the damn thing. They didn't even consult me or ask me, can I do it? But I think a hell of a lot of people watched that. I had convinced about that thing. People greeted me in a shopping center in another town. Said, listen, hey, wow, you were great there. Where again?
So in Drakenstein, you were a counsellor. Wow, how was that learning curve? To go from being a Springbok rugby coach to being a counsellor in Drakenstein. What are the issues that you faced, and what are the issues that are still existing there for the ordinary people?
The white people wanted the coach to lose and the players to win. The black people wanted the coach to win and the players to lose. So everybody wanted you to lose.
Yes.
You're going to Dunedin, you're going to play the All Blacks, and there's just no way that you're going to win it, because nobody ever won there. You understand what we're getting at? So you have to go make a plan. All right? So if you go, when I became a teacher for 20 years, I took all that experience with me in coaching. So I knew how to work with people who are poor, who didn't eat, who had enough, I could work with all of them, but I had to break them all down to the same level so that they can grow as a class, as a group together. So I took that into coaching. You know, so you don't need to have a Victor there and a Bucky's here. Now you bring Victor down. Because Victor it's normal to be there.
So
he will grow.
Those were your locks, actually.
So, but he will grow naturally, and he will take Bucky's with him. You understand me getting it?
Yes.
So this is this is how you do these things. So if where people misjudge them with me, because I was a successful rugby coach, they thought I'm a rugby coach. I wasn't born a rugby coach. I became one. But I would be stupid if I don't bring those experiences that I had in teaching and in rugby to politics. Because it's the same experiences. People will never change wherever you go. You understand? So I know what the media did to me. I know what certain players, and I know how they fooled me. I know people didn't like me there. I know all those kind of things. So I walk into that thing with the same thing. But you equip you with the basics to be there. You know? What is the basics? If I do this, I can lose my job. If I do this, then something. Now, as you grow, you learn the other stuff with it.
Yes.
So for me, it was a new experience, but it wasn't new for me. Because at 60, you're taking experience that way. You think it's new. It can't be new. It's 60-year-old guy. It can't be new. The only new thing is now if you bring a guy just straight from school, that's new. He doesn't have experience of life. I bring all this experience with me. So when you speak to me, I hear what you say, but I listen to what you don't say.
Okay. Yes.
Do you understand me getting it? If I want to fight the DA, then I don't need to be in politics. Because if you fight the DA and you win, you didn't satisfy the people who voted you in there. You must go fight what they need,
Right.
firstly. So if those people don't like it, it's their problem. I'm not there to make friends. I'm here to satisfy a lot of poor people who put their trust in me to go fight there. And I can tell you now, I'm surely the only person who've been at my own funeral alive 10 times already for the great things people says about me. Sunday night, I was so humbled by what Carlos wrote about me. I never ever worked with him to receive anything like that. And I sent him a message back saying, you humbled me now because I never thought anybody will look at me this way. I didn't see myself that big. You know? So there was my funeral again. My daughter, before she died, she said to me, her husband, don't lie to my dad. And if he says something to you, trust him. He never broke his word ever with me. Yeah? And my wife, before she died, she said to somebody else, if you need someone with wisdom, come to Peter. I'm telling you, he is the wisest person I ever met. My wife, my child, the people who know you really inside out, they said great things. Yeah, he comes, he says the same thing. It's the third time now in my life that people close to me says the things. I mean, we got a working relationship. He must say bad things about me because do you understand what I'm
Only when you're not in the room.
But I mean, he must say bad. You expect him to say bad things, not bad things, but not. You expect of your child because they know you better. If you pretend in life, your child will never say that what he said, or your wife will never say that what they said. So I'm very happy with my can I say transformation, my character, how I chose to do things. Because I can say today with a great conviction, everything I did in my life, I did for myself. I don't do anything for anybody else. I do everything for myself. If you want me to come here to make you happy, I do it for myself. Do you understand what I'm trying to do? So if somebody asks me bread, and I will go inside, no, wait, I'm going to warm this up for him, okay, because I'm doing it for myself. Because when he leaves, I know I did my best for him. So I do everything I do it for myself. And that's why I don't need people to give me accolades. I feel good already.
Good. Capital G
Very
and
good,
small G.
very good.
Coach, you touched on something, and I really want to thank you for agreeing that we can talk about anything in this interview. And you touched on it in this last. You experienced the loss of your wife and the loss of your daughter. And no man should experience the loss, or no parent should experience the loss of their child. And it's very rare for men to experience the loss of their wives. Women tend to live longer than men. So I want to understand from you, how did you process that, and how did you bounce back, and the legacy that they have had on your life and your outlook?
How prepare you to learn? And do you only want to learn from the things that you see, wow, that can benefit me? Or you are open to learn? I went to Namibia to do a speech. And then from there we took a 4-man airplane. And wow, we went in the air for 20 minutes. The engine went. So we had to land. North London. And then we wait for another plane to come fetch us. It was smaller. Now flying in the morning or in the night and flying in the afternoon is different, because the turbulences, the hot air make the turbulences just worse. So this small plane were in that thing, and it was doing, I was afraid. But then a voice came over the tower, and the lady said, climb and maintain. So the pilot did climb out of where we were to 70 foot, I said 7,000 foot or something like that. Climbed, and when we were above the turbulences, he maintained. I was very happy. Now the climb and maintain taught me a lesson how to overcome your turbulences in life. And I thought that was my turbulence. Because when we landed, my telephone rang. And they told me, your daughter's got 20% heart function left. You must come back, she's busy dying. So I said to myself, no, I'm going to speak to these people first. So that was my turbulence, not the one that I went through. So while I went through that turbulence, I climbed and I maintained. So I said, well, if I'm meant not to be there, let me know the story afterwards. Otherwise, keep her alive until I go home. Okay, eventually she died. But then I challenged God, because else my life that, man. Anyhow, I eventually got over it. And then my wife couldn't get over death. And I don't know if I can say it here and what I impact but that COVID injections were the end of her life. But anyhow, and when I heard about the death, I said to my daughter, the oldest one, and her words to me is, Mommy wanted to be with Odile. She's there, we've got each other, let's make each other happy. So the next morning while I was sitting with my daily devotion, I heard a voice behind me, let my people go. But clearly, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so there's nobody. And I said, wow, please speak to me. And then the voice in my spirit comes the following, I can do to you what I did with Pharaoh. But I got cold sweat, because the 10th,
10th plague.
The 10th plague was the death of the firstborn, and my firstborn was sleeping up there. Say, please speak to me, please speak to me. And the last thing that came in my spirit is that I took your wife out of her misery and put her back to where I saw comfort for her. And that's the end of it. So I went to sit back and I said to myself, I had my daughter for 27 years. What did I not do in 27 years that I badly wanted to do? And I couldn't find one thing. And the same thing with my wife. What did I, in 40 years, 44, 43 years of marriage, what did I do that I badly still wanted to do for her? And I couldn't find anything. I said, why? He gave me so long, and I actually used the time, you know. I cared for both of them. I looked after both of them when they were sick. And I was there for them. I gave up a coaching job in Zimbabwe to come look after my daughter when she was sick. No income, no nothing, but that was the thing I need to do. But anyhow, so what I'm trying to say to you is that if you do things with a conviction that wow, like we do it now. I mean, when we leave, even if it's not a great interview.
It's a great interview.
But even if it's not a great interview, I still feel fulfilled because you know what happened to me? 10 o'clock, this morning, 8 o'clock, I had to leave my home to be there at 10 o'clock, before 8, to go sit until 6, just before 6, we came out of that chambers. So the one thing now, and I'm fasting. I don't eat between 6 and 6. So I want to go home now because I want to go eat and then I want to go rest. Do you understand what I'm getting at? But no, we made a commitment to be here. So you can't get hungry. You can't get those. You must first go fulfill your commitments.
You could have told us that you...
No, but what I'm telling you, but this is what I'm trying to say to you.
Yes.
I can't tell you because then it's not a religious thing anymore. Then it becomes something that you're... What I'm trying to say to you is that there's 9 reasons why I shouldn't be here. But I'm here for that one reason that I should be here, and I don't know what it is.
I appreciate you being here.
That's the reason. But that is the reason.
Thank you for sharing that story. I mean, it's...
But I want people to understand. If you look at yourself first, no. Look at what can you contribute. But I'm feeling good now. I don't miss food. I don't miss anything because Carlos bought me food. He fed me when I came here. So I'm fine. I saved money on food too. Carlos fed me.
I think this is as good a time as any to bring in a friend of the show, Carlos MESQUITA. You know, Carlos, you were the 5th person that we interviewed, and at the time we interviewed you about the various issues of the unhoused and the homeless, and now you are working in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament with Coach. What's your role, and how did this come about?
Yeah, unplanned, and I mean it's a natural progression actually. But since I was here, by that stage, I'd already taken the decision to join Good. That was in 2020. We didn't really discuss that at that point in time, but when they approached me in 2020, I'd been out of homelessness for about 3 months when I was first approached by Good. And I rejected it at that stage because I thought that it was going to be a circus, you know, homeless man going for counsellor. And so I said, thank you, but no thank you. When it got to 2021 with the elections, the municipal elections, I'd realized that I'd gotten to a point as far as my being able to help people that were living on the streets. I'd sort of reached a plateau. And in order to actually help people, I had to get to a point where I no longer, where I was going to be invited to a certain level, and that's a political level. Because you get to that level where you have to go through too many people to get to the right people. But the minute I allowed myself to be elevated to that point where I was actually going for counsellor and did well, taking into account that I was in C Point, you know, beating the ANC and beating the EFF, and I didn't even have a poster. I got onto that level where I could knock on any door and I could keep homelessness in the news and which, you know, until we find a sustainable solution. So that was the reason for my becoming the unwilling politician, as I called myself during those elections. And with Peter, it was a question of, I was asked to do 2 reports. At that stage, I'd been assisting at the Western Cape Provincial Government for a few months with Sean August. And that had come to a bad end.
Yeah, we've covered that here.
Yeah, and to the point that I really didn't actually want to have anything to do with that office. And then Brett Heron had asked me to do a few research, actually for him, as well as I was under the impression it was being done for the press office. And they gave me one day they just phoned me. I'd been doing it for a while, but I mean, it was like they usually give you, like a week to do research and come up with this report. But they phoned me the one day and they said, you know what, you're actually only on our payroll for another 3 days, and we need this in today. And they gave me 2 questions that I need to research and get to them within the next 3 hours max, or 2. I can't remember who was with me, but I was swearing. I thought to myself, how can you even expect me to do this? But I did it. Only to find out later that is what made Peter convinced Peter to actually, decide on me as his researcher. When I get asked today what my role is, I don't call myself his researcher, because let me be honest with you, Peter doesn't need a researcher. I make his life easier, probably. But as he said before, I mean, this man can speak about anything. People have the wrong impression, which is a great thing, actually, because they don't see him coming. I love watching his speeches on, when he does them, because I watched him in the office on TV. And sometimes I wish I didn't have to write it for him. I know I have to give him a bit of a guide, but I've come to the point where we actually spend time before he goes into the legislature so that he makes it his own. Because otherwise Peter cannot. If it's mine only, he would never be able to actually bring it to the fore. These days I'll write it and then he'll change and it becomes his. And you can hear it when he presents it. But it's easy to write for him because I know exactly what his values are. I know what his... it's the weirdest thing, I think the day that I realized this was the day that, and you actually asked me whether I would organize for Peter to see Wesley Newman, the teacher that was fired. And at that particular meeting, I sat in awe because, as I've said to you before, I'm not a religious person, but I'm a spiritual person. And there was just something that happened in that meeting. Whatever Peter was saying, and I mean, it was so, people would have thought, is anybody understanding this? And I was getting him completely. And we were looking at each other, and we actually, afterwards I said, you know what? We both thought that he should actually go into politics, because he's so good at he would really, but...
Wesley.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the way Peter spoke to him, it was like, I could see that Wesley also walked out of there, walking on air. That's the effect that Peter has. He was referring to something that I wrote on a group on Sunday. And this is what inspires me about... I don't feel I work for Peter. I really don't. I'm in his office, and it's a great pleasure to be in his office. But what I said on Sunday is exactly how I feel. We're sitting in a situation that we're going into a very, very strange election next year. A lot of things are going to change, need to change, but I don't know what's going to happen. But we have got, especially in the Western Cape, they were having a discussion on the Atlantis group about leadership and about, we've got all these parties vying for position, etc., but we don't have leaders. Where's there a leader that we can trust? And I'm thinking to myself, are these people blind? They just don't know. Because, it's not about Peter being with good or whoever he would be with. If you get to know Peter, I mean, I will go, like today again, we stopped at some takeaway, small little takeaway here, around the corner, 200 meters away. And As we're about to enter, I said, here we go again, the fan club. Nobody didn't say anything, but I already know the fan club. Because no matter where you go, the very first time that I experienced it was when, in the first week that I worked for Peter, I had to go down to his car with him. And to get something, or put something. And a lady was about to come out of the parking lot at the Provincial Legislature. And here goes Peter, and he uses his card. Now, she's supposed to be paying to get out of the... because she's paying customer. Peter just goes and he swats her out. And the lady that works at the boom, you're going to get me fired. But everybody forgives him everything.
Was it the SAFU expense card? But you...
That's the other thing. I mean, exactly what he said about his expense card. This is a man that doesn't even claim his mileage. He's really not worried about it. I mean, Pumla has to beg him for his mileage or for his anything, because that's not who he is. That's not what he thinks about. To give you a perfect example, about my cell phone theft. My thought was, I need to get somebody that's got a cell phone lying around until I can get to buy one, because I can't be without a cell phone. Only Peter would immediately be the only person that would immediately, I didn't even have to ask anybody because he'd already found a solution. So, to me, it's just been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to ensure that, what does he always say to me?
Just leave it there,
I won't go to details, but he says that I make him work hard, but it's not making him work hard. He is natural at what he does, and I really think that he is the answer to a lot of our questions. I'll leave it there.
Speaking of questions, so now we've established that you're nice guys, that you swipe ladies out of parking lots, and that, you're a very good writer. I want to look at the political output in the legislature, and especially what's been happening over the last few days. So it's very rare that you often deal with the political principle. You never deal with the political principle and the team. So it's a good opportunity for, I think, people to gain an insight into like the political strategy and everything that goes into the question and the response. Oftentimes you ask like the political principle and they don't know anything. But I know that you know something, and it's good to have the backroom and the front, not front person, but the
face.
The face, not the face, the body, the person who's in the seat, the honorable member. So this week, you gave an input into eliminating the provincial tier of government. You said, and I'm quoting you, your input in the legislature: the more I listen to the budgets and readjusted budgets being tabled in this house, and despite my being a member of this house, the more I tend to agree with the growing calls to do away with this level of government. What do you mean by doing away with the provincial legislature?
We were sitting down and we discussed it, and he wrote it first, and then we discussed it, and what we were saying is simple, is that it's stupid for you to think. It's just stupid for you to think you can do away with it. But the way we're doing it, we could rather go without it.
Why do you figure that?
Well, if you look where is the poor people, where's the needs, where's all those kind of things? Why should it come through us and fighting like y'all in a room, and we're fooling each other, and then we have to go make decisions, and then more decisions, and then it can only go to the people who's poor. By then we were at 4 funerals already. So we want people to benefit. We want people to benefit from us being in Parliament. But at this stage, it's not happening.
And how would you change it though?
Well, we want them to think different about why we're there. If they can think different about why we're there, and they can actually streamline. We can't change everything overnight. But we're not there to change things overnight. We're there to satisfy the people. So if you can prioritize needs, né? And if I can buy a new Mercedes, let's make it example that everybody can understand. Since I left the Springboks, I never went to watch a rugby test on my own. I did 2 rugby tests for SABC, and that's the only time when I went to watch a rugby test. What is my principle why I'm not going? I will always be a supporter of the Springboks. But my principle is, I will never pay 1,000 rand for a ticket if I can't give the equivalent to that 1,000 rand to somebody who is hungry.
Yes.
So I can't at this stage afford both. So I don't tend to do the one that's not significant. So if this is what we actually want to bring across in our thing, homeless people, for instance, why will you buy 40 or 50 BMWs? Do you understand that small little things that we are trying to bring across, and this is what they can't see because they never. When he was homeless, I will never know what he went through. But because I understand it, I will never know what he's the only one who knows what he went through. But I understand it, how it is not to have something that you badly need now.
Yes.
Do you understand me? So that experience of me. Now, who of the other guys who sitting there ever in their life badly needed something? Now, they are the ones who make the decision for the people who badly need stuff. And this is what we want to bring across to them. We know we need that kind of tier of politics. We need it. The country needs it. But change your mind. Change your mind and look at the needs first. You know?
And it's a waste of money. A lot of the time, that's the thing. It's like it's drawn from the fiscus.
You know that the reason why I don't have parties is exactly for that same reason.
You mean like when you say parties, you mean like events?
No, parties for my birthday. I will never have a birthday party. Never.
Whatever. We must throw him a surprise birthday party.
No, because I will never spend money on an occasion where I know a hell of a lot of other people can't eat. Do you understand? It's only me. I'm not saying anybody else is wrong. I'm just saying this is my way of doing things. And Christmas, when we make our food, I would first dish 10 plates and put it in my car and drive around the town, and the first 10 people that I could see that I know that they didn't eat, I'll give it to them and then I will go eat. Do you understand? So that's a small little things. Now politics to me is the same. Politics to me is the same. Don't you be the center of nothing. Don't you be the center of nothing. Make a law that says our biggest problem at this stage in politics, our biggest problem in politics is our bylaws. Our bylaws stop us so much from doing good to people who need it.
Also, like for example,
you must go consult first. I mean, he can't. I can't go do something. It's a bylaw first that say no, you can't have your stall here.
Right. Okay.
Do you understand? We're getting it. Now I want you to put your stall there because you did your research. You know, I'm selling Coke, and here's 750 feet every day, and 500 is gonna buy Coke. But my bylaw says you can't put a stall there. Now I'm robbing you from the opportunity to look after yourself because a bylaw that has nothing to do with you living.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So what I'm trying to say, and that's what we want to bring across to them, is that don't make promises, man. Don't promise anybody anything. Go out there like he does. Put up your gazebo. People who can't write, he's filling in their forms for them now to be registered. If that guy's name is coming up and he's registered, you know how much pride he takes in himself as a registered person, because now he's equal to me. He's equal to me. And he didn't give money to the people. He gave them dignity. Now,
I'm going to talk about that. I think it's a very important thing to talk about, but after we close the parliament thing.
I just want to mention something with regards to, that particular speech that you referred to earlier on. That was born out of the fact that, you get to this time of the year and they give you bulk reports and budgets. And listen, the provincial government was supposed to be a people's assembly. People were supposed to be allowed to go in, participate. Now, let me tell you that I, as an educated person and somebody that did accountancy and maths and everything, struggle with having to go through all those budgets. But there are things that you obviously have a lot of experience in, like social development or like safety and security, because you know about law enforcement, etc. And then you pick up, just a certain thing and you think, but are they mad? I mean, how does this gel up? And then you start looking deeply into that budget. And so the first thing that came to mind before I even, went to Peter and said, this is maybe the way we should look at it, because that is not a response to a budget speech, but it is. But it is so that the people, the populace will understand what I'm trying to say there. I mean, if you really go into the nitty-gritty, do you know that the only departments that haven't had any downgrade because of, and of course, the Western Cape provincial government, and this is one of the things that we have been saying in a lot of Peter's speeches, is, Peter said it, I think it was in October, where he said, imagine the people that voted for us, that are sitting in this house, and he said it to the whole house, had to be flies on the wall. And every single week when the ANC proposes something, the DA will object. Whether it's a good thing or not, they don't care. And the same goes for vice versa. And that is not right. But that's how they do it.
Yes.
And so precisely the same with what, if you look at the budgets, do you know that the only department that is not impacted at all, 3 departments that aren't impacted at all, are the Premier's office, the Treasury, and the...
Safety and security?
No,
the impact.
but those are the 3 administrative...
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
They haven't lost 1 single cent. Not even with the salary adjustments, etc., that they keep complaining about the ANC having...
The Speaker's office too.
Yeah, Speaker's office, that's correct. So it's those that really could afford to take a bloody cut on it, haven't been cut at all. So we can cut it on education, and we cut on this and that are important, but not those 3. And you know what, provincially, at the moment, the way the Western Cape structure works, it really is a bureaucratic waste of, safety and security, let's use that as an example. What does provincial government have to do with safety and security? Because all the money goes into LEAP officers that go to the city of Cape Town.
Let's talk about the LEAP
So
officers.
why don't, and here's a group of officers that, number 1, are on a contract, which means that although law enforcement's got over 1,000 positions available that they could actually employ staff, they still do the contract thing, because, it's the way they do things. EPWP, although it's a national thing, PEP, the city makes as if they own it. And the only reason they do it, like EPWP with the homeless is a perfect example. Because they've got 1,108, I think, positions open for that type of job, like cleaning the streets and maintaining the gardens and whatever. But why should they employ people at a decent salary with benefits when they can employ homeless people at a total I mean, it's a ridiculous slave labor rate, and only for 3 months. Why? So that you can't run to the Department of Labor or anything if you don't like the way things happen, because after 3 months you get cut off and you can't work for 3 months.
The cooling off period, yeah.
Not only is it a cooling off period, that's the end of their 3 months at the shelter, so then they get put back onto the streets to allow the next batch to come in.
Yeah.
And that's why I fight the whole safe spaces setup, because that's what it's there for. It's there to accommodate the programs. It's not thinking about the longevity and the sustainability of the person that's being accommodated. No, you've worked your 3 months, you've stayed your 3 months, go back to the street. Then we get the bylaws that then say to you, you cannot be on the street. I mean, really?
Yeah.
So, it just doesn't work at the moment. So when we go to leave offices, these people have the Justice Department, in an answer in the national government, said that this is it's an illegitimate force.
Yes, I mean, on your vote against, Peter, your vote against the safety and security budget, you wrote that you can't support a unit that the National Department of Justice has declared in the National Parliament to be an unsanctioned and illegitimate unit.
I just don't want to comment on that one, because we still have to do it.
Okay.
You see, he knows his features. That's tomorrow's, yeah.
And then you've done the education budget was today, yeah.
Tomorrow. Social development was today.
Social development was today.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what you were saying about the bed spaces and living on.
But you know what? I just want to come in here. He knows more about that, because he understands that inside he wrote everything, all the principles and stuff like that. But what's very important there is that if I tell you, with all this equipment, I've got a camera at home which we can mount up here, and it will actually, so it's a wide thing. Although you've got all this stuff here, you're looking forward to that thing, because I told you I've got it. But you still have cameras you can go on, but you're looking forward to that one. Now, what about somebody who doesn't have anything? Do you understand?
Exactly.
Now he hurts. Not him per se, but he's in a vicinity. He hears about there's going to be a new shelter and beds for. So he will go to the guys that he was sitting down and drinking with at night, lying on a pavement. Say, don't you worry, it's coming, man. There's a big thing coming for us. How much hope do that people have? There's nothing. But the bad thing is, they see me walking down the street, and because I'm well known and they know I'm in Parliament, I'm a liar. I'm suddenly a liar because I stole their hope away from them. Most of those people on the street don't want to be there. But there are some of them who wants to be there. Do you understand? We're getting it. How do I know who wants to be there and who don't want to be there if I don't take the time to go speak to them?
Yes.
And that's Carlos' fight. Carlos' fight is we can't go in the street to go talk to everybody. You promised the shelter. Let's get the shelter. They will come and then we can talk. Do you understand we're getting it? Now we can actually, because you can't help people who don't want to be helped. But
you can provide some sort of safety, some kind of protection.
If they don't want to be helped, you can't. I'm telling you now. But don't rob people from hope.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm trying to get to you? And again, I like my Bible, is that not everybody were healed in the Bible. There were people who died from sickness and illness, but there were a hell of a lot who were healed. So we can't help everybody. We won't, it will never be able to get everybody off the street. But if we say we don't want you in Adley Street, or we don't want you in a parade, we don't want you there, we must provide something for them where they can go. But now we're doing nothing, And they become a sore finger for us, or a sore eye, or whatever you want to say. And we're all blaming everybody who's there, and not everybody's the same that's there.
Yes.
And he's got the best experience. Do you really think he's more educated than me? He's more educated than me. Do you really think he wants to be on the street? He wants to be in a space where he can compete with the people. And that is why I put myself in his shoes. Why must he come ask me if he just get a great idea? Go for it. Go do it. I will look at it. And when I see it, I say, wow. Then I give it back to him, so now go do it. I will never steal the thing. He can't go speak in parliament. I have to. So there I'm stealing the ideas.
Yeah.
But everywhere else is his idea.
Yes.
Go for it.
That's what I like about that dynamic, because it feels like a team. It doesn't feel like a boss and an employee.
And you know, when we went on our site visits, me and him too, and we're going on one again one of these days, when we go on our site visits, it's not that he's with me there. No, we're together there. And he will tell me, let's go speak to this guy, or let's do this. Say, okay, it's fine. Oh, now you go. Do you understand we're getting it? The same report. It's going to the same place.
Yes.
Why must I be the center of all reports? And hy hom doen het werk.
Yeah.
And that is the thing now. Now people don't like our guts. You know? My invalshoek, that's my way, is the imbalances of the past is the reason why our people is still struggling.
Yes.
That's my take. You're not gonna convince me.
I agree with you.
And in one of my speeches, I said to the Premier that the privileged people like me managed to work myself out of that circumstances. So we all left. But those who couldn't, who didn't have the opportunities, they are still there. But they are the same people like I were, who were hopeless. They stole my hope, they stole my everything. But what did that people do who's still living in the flats and stuff? They learned how to survive. And now that they can survive on their best, we want to criticize them. They don't want to do it. Let me tell you, they don't want to do it, but they taught themselves how to survive because of what we gave them to go in there.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Now that's the same thing with homelessness. Those people taught themselves how to survive. I'm telling you now, if you're going to live on a street, the one thing you think now, I'm going to live on a street, is, my toothbrush, I'm going to wash. They know how. They know how because they taught themselves how to. But now what do I say? Look at them.
Yeah.
I caused them to teach themselves how to survive. Now they are so eye for me.
Particularly in Cape Town, in the city of Cape Town.
It's all over. I'm telling you now, the whole Western Cape is full. You can go to Paul, they're sleeping in town. As soon as the doors close of the shops, they will sleep there. You know, where they store their stuff and all that kind of. I mean, look, if I don't even know where to put my stuff. If I go out of my house now, they taught themselves how to survive. Hell, they're getting on things, put it up there, put it under in this. They just know how to survive. What I'm trying to say to you is that are people meant to be treated like that? So let's go put our budgets and our stuff and say, listen here, let's go see, we must do this, we must do this, if we do cuts like he says, let's cut on the places that's least going to affect our communities, but let's get everybody on par. So now I can arrest him if I see him on the street because the facility is there where he can be and he's not there. But at this stage, we do nothing. Sorry.
And I think that the statement that Peter made today in Parliament about social development, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, we've got a ministry that since 1994 has not contributed to the opening of one single new facility.
Yeah.
And in 2021, for the first time, they make an announcement that they will be opening one in the CBD that's going to be transitional and not only going to help those living at that shelter, but those living around the shelter through upliftment and employment, etc. I know this because they asked me to contribute to the presentation. A year later, they changed that because there's asbestos in the roof. They swelled the budget up to by another 8 million and then offer a smaller venue, no longer transitional, no longer developmental, and in an area where it's going to get criticized and where people have already made plans, cultural plans in Woodstock. And also where the people living on the streets, had they taken the trouble, would have said, we also don't want to live in that area. And so from that, they don't even make an announcement. We, by the by, through the budget, realize they've now allocated not 6 million, not 13 million, but 18 million to increase bed spaces at the existing shelters that they have been funding since 1994. Which means that these are the shelters that people don't want to go to, that they refuse to go to because of the reasons that we all know.
Yeah.
And so another 18 million gets thrown good money off the bag without even discussion being held.
So look, so that Jordan Lewis can have a photo opportunity.
And no impact on those living on the streets or the number of people living on the streets. And so that is where I then say, you know what, I don't even want to read the rest of that budget. There's one example that says to you, there's no way that we can support that budget. And so it's also a way of giving them, because a lot of people go into Parliament and then they'll go and okay. And you say, you're not going to give 340, you're going to give 310,000 or million or whatever. You know what? The public doesn't get it. Nobody in that house gets it except the person that went and researched it, especially the DA people, because they have to confuse everybody to such a degree that...
And justify.
I mean, really, a lot of people just accept everything because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
But take one aspect of it and just show them, you know what? Look at that. Does that make sense to you? And that is, I think, what Peter's budget speeches are going to be doing, is paint that picture, be it safety and security, be it education, etc. And so the public is going to understand that because they're going to look at that story. Oh, we've read about that story. They're really going to do that? And then you realize that if you are okay with... I'm not okay with everything. So I can comment on the ones that we know and Peter knows. And that will make people realize, okay, but then there's something not right with that budget. And quite frankly, at the moment, we're not impacting. So if we're not impacting, hence Peter's comment, why do we have this entire government if it's doing nothing? Then we might as well just have the local municipalities. Why do we have to go through the provincial government to pay LEAP officers that are in any case only working for the city of Cape Town? And that is why Peter says homelessness you get everywhere, because the provincial government hasn't even bothered with one shelter in the metropole of Cape Town. Never mind the rest of the Western Cape, there's nothing.
Why is there homelessness in Cape Town? That is the core thing that we need to go find. Why? The problem is now so big, I don't think it will ever be solved. But why is it there? And the reason why it's there is that the influx.
In migration is a normal thing. But I think, Coach,
that is not a normal thing. Listen to me, this is not a normal thing. We accept it as normal.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, we accept it as normal. If I live in Joburg and I want to come up to Cape Town, and I can't afford to build my own house, I can't come into Cape Town. Because somebody else now have to provide for you. Because after 5 years, what's going to happen? Do you understand what we're trying to say to you?
Yes.
Unfair but realistic. Because our problem is not now that there's too much people. Our problem is there's not enough houses.
Yes.
Because we have to provide to those who can contribute more for the city's coffers than those who can't.
Yes.
Right. So what do we boast about? We boast about in Parliament that we are giving for free to a lot of people. Free this, free water, free this, free that. But now we don't say that we bring in 6,000 from Joburg, who's paying for that 100 that's getting stuff free, and the 7,000 that's living on the street doesn't have anywhere to go. They doesn't get anything for free. The people that's homeless doesn't get anything for free because they have nothing.
Yeah.
The other problem that we have is the fact that how do you define homeless? The city of Cape Town especially likes to define homeless people living on the streets as those that impact on their leafy suburbs, where people pick up a phone and say, we don't like this. But the people that they pushed out in 2010 for the World Cup and in 2017 with JP Smith's whole, and so they moved those into, not only those people, but the people living in shacks all over. I mean, you fly into Cape Town, you see. Now, they don't consider those people homeless. Those are backyard dwellers, and they give them other names. Not realizing that what happened with COVID and the fact that the people that are considered homeless were given or took advantage of the PI Act, etc., this motivated a lot of people living in the shacks in the outskirts to come back. Hence the fact that it happens mostly in the CBD and in Belleville. I mean, the figure in the CBD grew from 780 to 7,011. That is 10 times the amount. And it keeps growing. And opening up, I mean, the mayor loves to talk about safe spaces. That's all he does is talk. He's been in that office for 2 years. Do you know that despite, I don't know how many thousands of times the word safe space has come out of his interviews, yet he has not opened one single safe space since he came into power.
3 years.
The first one will be the Green Point if it ever opens.
Oh,
He hasn't opened one.
I want to talk about the campaign that you at the moment to register homeless people with their IDs. What's the response been for that?
Well, from the people living on the street, absolutely, we couldn't keep up with it because our idea was initially to create an impression. I went to the national minister to ask permission to actually reduce the price by 50%, and then I asked the public to donate 50%. But that was going to limit us because by the time that we'd done the initial batch of individuals, we were at, I think, 598. And there was no way that we were going to get the public donations to go that high. And so I went and I begged for free for all. And it took about a month and a half, which with Home Affairs, I don't think that was a bad... but it's been an uphill battle as far as getting it to that point where we are actually now, able to release or get the Home Affairs to actually start the ID process. But the number of people, we sit there every day that we thought that we are now going to be providing the IDs, and we've now... But we know, from the fact that, again, we were talking about not knowing about homeless people and why they're there, we initiated a count called Everybody Counts last Christmas when I said I'm going to go homeless for Christmas. I was going to go back to being homeless for that Christmas day. That was to launch Everybody Counts, so that we could count, because there is no count of the homeless. Now, how do you provide services if you don't know how many people are living on the streets, how they landed up on the streets, what their journey was like, and how can you help them off the streets? You cannot provide services if you don't have any data. And so we started that. With that, we found out that of those 7,011 in the city, in the CBD, and we've now counted 18 wards, and we're sitting on 14,698. 14 wards. So there's a long way to go, and we're already at 15,000. Of those 7,011 in the CBD, there was 3,000 odd that are legitimate South African citizens that do not have an ID, mostly through law enforcement interventions. And so we've now managed to, I think we're going to be just under 1,000 that we've gotten to go through this process. That still leaves 2,000 people. And we are trying to do this in every ward that we get to. And, if you take that, almost half of the people living on the streets still don't have IDs, despite the fact that organizations are funded for this. And this is what I can't understand. Where are those
Where's
funds
the money?
going?
Yeah.
Because most of the organizations that are funded by the city and the provincial government get funding for providing IDs. Yet it is those organizations, the people that, I mean, we are doing it at an organization, and directly opposite is another organization that does get funding. Yet they call them clients, that are at that organization that gets funding are coming through to get IDs to the side. And then I just don't understand now, where's that funding gone?
Look, that's why we need outsiders in politics. Outsiders, I see two outsiders in politics who are making a change, and that's I appreciate.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I'm gonna end with a couple of viewer comments, and then we're going to. I'll give you the last word, Coach, if I can find this. Right, Sibusiso Mtila, a friend of the show, says, I hear what Coach Peter is saying regarding not being prepared or seeing himself paying R1,000 to watch a rugby test match if he cannot give or spend the same equivalent of it on a homeless person. This is noble and honorable. I can see and understand the thinking behind it. But does he not see the same value in investing that R1,000 in the economy and buying that ticket? The opposite of how he sees it as a waste. The same way I see it as a deprivation of others attached to that test match who benefit from people spending R1,000. Is employment not important as food provision? What do you say to Sibusiso?
I think he's too political now for me. Does he really know where that money goes to?
Where does the rugby test match ticket go to?
That's exactly. Does he really know where that money goes to? And that money is not been put back into the economy. The only money that goes into the economy is the food and the drinks and the stuff that they buy.
The expense accounts.
That they buy when they get there. Do you understand what we're getting at? So I didn't say that he shouldn't go watch a test and he shouldn't go spend money. I said that's my principle. Because I understand how it is. My way of living is the following: never look up to anybody. Because if you look up to him, then you're in awe of him. If you look down on him, you actually look down on somebody else. Rise to where he is and look him in the face so that you can have a communicate with him on the level where he is. So for me, that's my principle. There's nothing to do with nobody else. There's a hell of a lot of people like. Maybe if I had a son, I would maybe thought differently because I want to take my son there. It's another way of educating. I don't have it. So my circumstances allow me to make that decisions for me.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm getting at? And a lot of people will say that I don't want my child to be part of gangsterism. I don't want my child to be part of all those kind of nonsense. And they take them to sport. And then in sport, they expose them to worse things. Because I know what's happening in sport. It's not all sport codes that's really true and noble and all those kind of stuff. If you look what happened in rugby a year or two ago with the drugs that they were doing in the Springbok team and all those kind of stuff. So do you really want to expose your child into those kind of things? If you look at what's happening in some of the biggest schools that play rugby, how they inject the players, how they put them on steroids to get them bigger. Do you really want your child? I mean, you take them away from gangsterism, but you put them in something like this that's worse on the future of your child's outcome. So there's a hell of a lot of things. It's not an easy way of yes and no. The one thing that I want to say to my friend there is that it's my opinion. But what I do understand is that my opinion is only an opinion and it's not the only opinion.
Yes. Now, Coach, thank you so much for being here with us today. You generously gave us 2 hours of your time. And
Carlos, let's get our bank account number here. My last word is that we all thrive for things. We all want the best things for ourselves. My message to you is that if you buy a pair of shoes, don't look at the brand, because it's not the brand of the shoe that will take you somewhere. It's how you walk in it that will take you somewhere. And I want us to walk in a character trait of being noble, being true, being yourself, and being the best you that you can be.
Coach, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Carlos, thank you, friend of the show.
Thank you.
Nantel, brother, friend of mine. And to you at home, thank you so much for watching, and catch us next time. Cheers.